We are going to be taking a look at somajc.org today. To access the website, you go to somajc.org/wp-admin, or you could type out this longer thing if you want to as well. We'll give you a link to that. And we have a username and password that you will be supplied with. When you log in, you will see the dashboard, and everything from here over is useless. So ignore that. We're only looking at the menu. Nothing else really matters on this page. But everything down here on the left side, this controls the whole website. We're going to go through the basics of all of the different core parts of your website, and we won't go into every little detail, but we'll do our best to get you equipped to be able to operate your website. If you have trouble, you can always ask us. We're glad to help, give you some advice, point you in the right direction, make sure that you're able to use the website as it should be used. So we have post up here at the top. And you've used WordPress before, or at least our primary contact there has, and so you probably know the basics of how this works, but we're going to go through it real quick anyway. So you enter a title where it says enter title here, and so we have a new title. In this area down here, it works just like any other word processing type situation. You can make text bold, you can make it italicized, you can make it so that it's bullet pointed, you can make it set of numbers, you can link it. All these things up here are fairly intuitive in this section here, just like what you'd be doing anywhere else really. Now a few of these we might go over in more detail in a moment on one of these other sections, but for now that's the basic idea. And you can change out colors, you can change if it's centered or left aligned, you can make a quote within there, and we have these format things over here that we'll touch on a little bit more here in a moment. But then we also have up here, if you want to add images, you can insert media, and we have a lot of images. You can also insert audio within a page or a post, anything of that nature, documents, all those things go through this add media feature over here. We can add a responsive accordion, and we will talk about what that is later, and we'll show that a little bit more. We can add a FooGallery, again we'll touch on that a little bit more later. Pod shortcode, we might touch on a little bit, but not much. And then if you want to add a form to the page, then you do this here. And you don't actually create the form right here, but that's how you select the form that you want to add to the page. Those all just insert little shortcodes that make it so that more content loads within there. Now we have some categories over here, and you don't really need those for the pages on this particular site, any of those. So those could really be removed, no particular need for them. As you're creating a page or a post, these things overlap for the most part, then you can save a draft at any time, or you can preview it at any time. And so we can create some text, you can add an image in here, and it's centered right now. We can make it left aligned, we can make it right aligned, we can get it right back to the center. If you want to change the size of it to something that is a more specific size, you can go in here and change it out to custom size. And we can mess around with this as much as we want. You can even create a little caption underneath it. Update that, it will show up underneath it. Go along a ways and we realize, we want to see what this looks like. Don't want to keep on working if it doesn't look just perfect. And we see that it's coming together mostly. We don't have any sort of padding on the outside of this right now on this post. I guess that's because we don't have any blog posts actually on this site. We don't even have a use for post on this site right now, do we? That's okay. You can learn how to use post anyway. And maybe you'll add a blog on here at some point, and then we'll make sure that there's formatting on there if you need that. But then if you're doing a blog post and you want to set a featured image, this makes it so that something will show up above it. I believe we probably have that set up on this, even if we don't have anything else set up. Yeah, there we go. So then you get your featured image up there and makes it look nice and slick. And really it's just padding missing there is all that we need. And this would be ready to go on blog post as well. But we don't have a blog page set up. And down here we have some things in layout settings. You don't really need that in there. And when there's things that you don't need, you just go up here to screen options and you take it away. And then it goes away. You don't have to worry about it anymore. We have this Yoast SEO down here, and it tells you whether you're meeting your keyword goals for your website. And I don't know if that's terribly relevant for what you're doing right now, but it's something that you can work with if you want to. Just enter the keyword in down here, and so we can say that our keyword is dogs, and it says, oh man, we It doesn't appear in here anywhere, and we're just failing completely. But as you change things up here, then it starts to like what you're doing a little bit more. And I don't even really like dogs. And just tells you what's wrong with it and what you can do to improve it. Revolution slider options, really don't need that. I'm not sure at all why it's there. You don't need scripts. Everything else should be good on here. Then when you're ready to publish it, you click publish. And this is live to the world now. And it's published, but then we decide, you know, I don't really think I want that. This post about dogs just isn't the thing for me. You can move it to the trash. But if you decide that that was not what you really wanted to do, you can always go back to the trash and you can restore it. But then there's a time when you click delete permanently, and we do keep backups of your site, so it's not actually completely gone. But for the next couple of days, it will be there in the backup. And after that, it really is gone forever. So we delete it permanently. And it's gone forever now, except for the backup. But it's basically gone. And then you move on to whatever else it is that you're going to be doing next. And we have categories here. If you want to add new categories for your post, then you can do so here, although we don't really have a particular need to, since we don't have a blog implemented on this website. If you want to reorder your post, you can do it through here. You can drag them up and down. Next, we have responsive accordion. We're using responsive accordion in 2 different places on this website. No, we're only doing it in one place on this website. Okay, never mind. Thought we had a thing up here that was using it as well. Let's go back to the home page and we'll take a look at where it is. So we have what we believe down here, and this makes it so that you can click these little thingies and then it opens up to whatever it is you're wanting to read about. And that's that. It's very simple to make changes to this one and fairly simple to build new ones as well. We just have each one of these little sections has its own little box that appear here, so you can see what are our beliefs, and that's what we have here, and then we have it within here. And you notice there's some code inside here. Well, you don't need to worry about that. You can just click the what you see is what you get editor. Make sure you click on visual. The text side is always what has the HTML within it, and you can just do this like any other post or page. No big deal to make changes within this. If you're satisfied with it, you click OK, and you would need to click update to make those changes live. If you want to change out the icon for this, you can, the little angle thing here, or you can add more to these by clicking add new accordion, and then you enter the title, enter the text, and it will show up in there. No additional coding needed to make it look right. It will just fall in line with all the others. We have some extra CSS code down here. You'd be best off not to delete that or change it. You could make some changes to this over here, although it's not necessarily always going to work out perfectly with what we've done with other coding. But you can, and you can mess around with it and see if you want to. Anything on here, you do something, in all likelihood, we're going to be able to undo it if it's something that's wrong. So it's okay to experiment, it's okay to try things out. Let us know if there's a problem, and we can fix it up afterward. If you want to add a new accordion, you can do so over here. And you just give it a title, fill it in with whatever you need to be in there. You publish it. Once you've published it, then you'll find that in this place here with all the accordions, then it has the shortcode right here, and you can copy that and paste that anywhere that you want. You could also go in here and add it directly, and then you don't even have to do the copying and pasting, although we're on the text side, so that's actually not quite what we wanted, although it does work. But don't really need those paragraph signs there. But now we have this here. Not too much more that you need to know about that right now. You can work with that as much as you want. If you ever want to go pro, you can click here and you can go pro, and you can have all these extra features, but what you have right now works just fine too. Now we are going to take a look at events. We have several that are scheduled already. Oh, and it looks like you've been in here to do things. I didn't even know that. Okay, well, so you've already been working with this event calendar. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. You come in here, you add a new event, and then you enter a title for it. And so you say new event. You get to choose what the times are for it. And these are non-American dates, so they're flipped. So it's not, there's no 13th month, so don't get confused. It goes the other way. If you go in here and click on it, then you can make sure that you don't mess up. So it's 12, 13, 16 is what we would say here. Set the time for whatever you want it to be. And you got to make sure you set the time zone correctly. Go with Chicago, and you repeat it if you want to. And you can make it so that it's repeating every year, every month, every week, every day. So we're going to say weekly on Tuesdays. We apply it, and then it will automatically be a part of the calendar for any of those days. If you want to set a location for the event, you can name it. And so we could say like Soma Church. You have an address. Let's say it's that. And then it will start filling it in. It doesn't load these little preview things anymore. Something to do with Google's new API. You can make it so that it shows the map and your meeting at McClung Park, it looks like. You can set a cost if you want to, but no need to. You can set an organizer's contact info, write some additional information about the event down here. You can add any photos in there that you want. You also can set a featured image over here, which can be nice. Set that and it'll load on the images page. Same sort of fields down here like you'd have anywhere else. You can click preview at any time, and then you can know if it looks like what you want it to look like. We have some other options that you can set over here for the overall calendar. Those things are all set up in a way that they should be working mostly okay right now anyway. But if you want to make changes for what is the default, or what day the week starts on, or whether we're looking at 24-hour or 12-hour, I don't know, whatever it is you want to do, you can make these changes. And for the most part, you don't really need to, but you can. And so you can take a look at these things and see what options you have within there. We can make some additional changes even to the colors in here. If you decide that you don't like a blue calendar, you don't like gray on your calendar, just an anti-gray sort of guy, then you can make those changes in here. And then all the things that you do on here automatically show up under this events section. And so we have these things going on, that way people know what's happening within your church. And they also show up on, again, automatically on the home page, and we have upcoming events here. And it lists things that are coming up here soon. It looks pretty nice. You can see all the events there if you want to go take a look at them. That's most of what you need to do there. That should make sense, right? There's the media library here. You don't need to do too much with that. You can come in here and look at media. You can add media here. It's not the most natural way to add media or to view media. It's easier to do it within a post or within a page or whatever else you're working on. But you could do it here, and you can see everything that you have all in one place. Then we have forms. And we have this thing here that doesn't need to be there. And I will fix that in a moment. Sorry about that. I was trying to work something out one time, and I forgot that I did that. So you don't go to all sermon categories within forms, but you do go here. But we're not going to stop the video just for that. So if you want to add a new form, you click Add New Form. These are mostly pretty simple to put together. You can put a description if you want to, but you don't need to. Come in here, it gives instructions right on here too. It tells you how to do it. So if you forget what I say or I don't explain it well enough, then there are always instructions right in here. The standard fields and the advanced fields are all very simple to use. The advanced fields just mean that then Gravity Forms is doing something advanced, not that you are, so they're not hard. Don't worry about the difficulty level or anything. But single line of text, if you want somebody to just answer a single line, then you can have it here. You give it a field label, and then you can make it required if you want to. And you can make it so that it has to be one of these things down here, but you wouldn't normally want to because there's easier ways to do that over here. You can make it so that then there's placeholder text. That goes in that little spot right there. We'll leave that like it is right now. You can set some drop-down or radio type menus, and we have these different choices, 1, 2, 3. Again, we can change some things in here, some sizes, make it look how you want it to look. What we want to do here next then is say we want to have a different set of choices appear depending upon what they do there. I don't want that. Let's do some checkboxes then that appear. And so then we want it to be, if the first choice is chosen, then answer this question. We're going to enable conditional logic over here under advanced. And all you do is you find your thing from before. It's called Untitled. Normally you have a better name for it than that. And when you want it to be if the first one is chosen, then this shows up. You can click preview anytime you want, but you'll find that it doesn't work because the preview button within Gravity Forms doesn't give you a preview unless you've already saved the work that you've done, in which case that's not really much of a preview, is it? But that's just the way Gravity Forms is, and it's still the best that there is, and so we still like it. Now we have this here. One line. You notice that we only have these, we have that one done by default. Shoot. Well, let's make that the second one instead so that you can see how this works. There we go. Try this again. There we go. Okay. So one line, and we make it our second choice, and then that pops up and that appears then, because you might not want this question to appear for just everyone. You click submit. It goes out. The way it goes out to people are through the notifications. Right now on this one we just have an admin notification set up. You might want to set one up for yourself and for the person filling it out, and they could be different if you want them to be, or you can make it go to both people. Right now then we're going into the admin email, which might still be set up as me. I wouldn't be too surprised. Yeah, it's still set up as me right now. And so we need to get that changed over to your email address or the relevant person there. You can also then make it so that then depending on if there's an email field within there, you can have that be the send to field. You can make it go to a different person depending on what is answered in these different boxes. You can set the from name, the from email, the subject, and then by default inside that email it's going to include all the fields that were filled out. And you can do some more advanced stuff if you want to, of formatting it in different ways and so forth, but we're not going to get too far into that right now. Under confirmations though, then this is what shows up right away once they fill it out. Not what goes in an email, but what shows up on that page. And so by default right now, this one's saying, thanks for contacting us. We will get in touch with you shortly. But we could change that to whatever we want, put whatever media we want within there, anything at all, or we could make it go to a different page or redirect even to an outside website that's not a part of Soma Community Church at all. Although I don't think the instances where that would be reasonable are very many. You can look at your entries over here. We don't have anything except for that one that I did through the preview. And you click on it, you can see it. If you want it to get sent out again, you can resend the notifications to whichever thing we have on here. You can even make edits to the entry if you want to. Don't really need to change anything under settings for this. All these settings are lifelong type settings that you don't really ever need to touch at all. There are some add-ons. If you ever want to be accepting payments through this, then we can do the PayPal add-on, and it's free within this. All these add-ons here are free, so you can integrate it with something else that you're already using. We have pages over here, and the way that you use them is essentially the same as the way that you use the posts that we looked at before. Let's go into a couple of these just to take a look at them. Let's go to About Us. You can see inside here that it's formatted very similarly to how it is on the actual page. We'll click preview so we can make sure we have a good idea of how it looks right now. And we have these little headers here. If you want to set a header, it's very simple. Just header 3 like that. And then bullet points are down here. Got these bolded. You can make things headed in some other thing. Doesn't have to be in header 3. You can go 2, 1, whatever you want. Any of those things. Create links, bold text, anything. It seems like you mostly know how to do that right now. And I believe this is a different photo than what we had before even. So maybe you changed that, or maybe someone else did for my team that I didn't know. Sometimes I don't catch everything that happens these days. So I could have just missed it. All these other changes could be made. You don't really need all those things though. Again, go to screen options. You don't want to see custom fields on every single thing, or layout settings, or slider options, or scripts. Page attributes you really might want. If you want to make any changes, you click update. Comments over here, but we don't have anywhere on the site that is utilizing comments right now, and I don't think you want to do an interview about how you created the site, and I don't think that you want to talk to somebody that says, I can see this website is rattling informative. So we can delete those. Hopefully you don't get too many of those. We have FooGallery over here. And we aren't even using this anymore. We're using something else for the sermons. That is a much better system than what we had originally. So this can still be used though. We'll go and go over it anyway, even though it's not used on your site right now. If you ever have a good amount of media that you want to be using, then you can come in here and select all the pictures and they will put them together in a nice way for you. You have a lot of different options. We won't go over it too extensively since it turns out it's not even being used on your website right now. But it's really good to have around. It'll be good as you start to have posts or pages that are about more specific content than just your general ongoing content for the church. But you can create all these different kinds of galleries, and they will do different things. And it's really slick, and it's really lightweight in terms of its content size. Its load time. It doesn't add hardly anything to your site, and it can do some really nice things. If you ever want to create these, you click Publish, and then you can copy the shortcode or insert it directly within a page, as we looked at before. We won't go over too much more on that since we don't actually have it appearing. But sermons are important. And to add a sermon, you come in here. We have a full list to begin with of all the sermons, and all of them need to have a series for them to really show up on the site. And we have 2 of these that don't right now. And so we need to make sure that they have something on them or they don't really show up. They do exist on the site still, just not in a very good way. So we have those there, and we have a couple of views. They've been looked at a few times, especially Mission of Soma has been. You can keep track of those here. You can look at similar sorts of data on Google Analytics, of course, but this is another place that you can see it as well. When you want to add a new one, you fill out the fields, and it's pretty self-explanatory again. So you enter the title of the new sermon, and you say new sermon name. You set the date for whenever it happened. We don't have service types right now, and that's fine. You can say the Bible passage, a little info about the sermon. You can choose the preacher. You can click this to choose from the most common ones. Wish it didn't do it like this where they're all the different sizes, but that's how they do it. So we'll deal with what they got. You can choose a sermon series, and so then you have the ones that have already been made, and so you click on those if it's one that's already been happening before. But if you want to have a new one, then you can do it right here, but you need to take some further steps on that if you're going to be adding a new one that we'll talk about in a moment. So you could go ahead and do it right now, and that'd be fine, but you need to do something else to really make it work fully the way that you want it to. To get the MP3 in here, you click Upload File, and then you just select the file that you want to upload, click it, it'll upload, and then you click, I think the term is Insert that they use, whatever the relevant term is that pops up after that. Then that URL will go here. If you want to use an MP3 that is not even located on this site, or that you need to use from some other place from within the site for some reason, you don't upload it directly right here, then you can just paste it in and it will still go up there. You don't need to really insert the MP3 duration. It does fine on its own. If you have a video embed code that you want to add, you can insert it there. If you have sermon notes, you can attach them as a PDF or a Word document or whatever else you want it to be. You can use sermon topics over here, but we don't have any way that they're particularly displayed right now. You can do books of the Bible, so people know what it's from. You can set a featured image for the sermon. And this is just for the sermon itself, not for the sermon series. Once you got all that ready, you click Publish, and it goes live. And once you publish it, then it goes in 2 places on the website. It goes on the home page here, if it's the most recent sermon. Then it goes in this spot here. Why Following Jesus is Difficult. You can click on it and listen to it. It also goes within these sermon series boxes on this page here. And the way that these come about is by making sure that they're in the appropriate series. And then within sermon series over here, this is the only thing you need to do on this series page, or you can add them directly here too, and that's fine. But then you have to add an image for each one of these. And that voting one isn't on there now, even though I know that I said that. I'll find it in a moment. I'll make sure that gets back on there, because I know that there was a voting one that had appeared on there before. But you need to have one of those on there so that it will appear on that page. If it doesn't have that image, it won't appear on that page. And you set that image, and then you're good. Everything else on here, well, you can set a new service type if you want to. That'd be fine. But I don't think you're having necessarily more than one service type right now anyway, of what's showing up on there. Under settings, a few little changes you can make, but nothing much. Nothing that's terribly important. I guess you can choose the translation over here, so that if people click on the Bible passage that you have indicated, then they can go to whichever translation you want. But that's really about it. There's not too much more to it. Those things will appear automatically. You should be good to go. As long as you can add those sermons, they should show up fine. If you have trouble, let us know. We'll gladly help out. Then we have homepage areas here. And these are the things that, as the name would imply, show up on the homepage. And so all the things on the homepage, with the exception of the footer, and by footer we're looking at this stuff right down here because they show up on every page. But everything above that point, everything that is unique to the homepage, is from these homepage areas. And these are really quite simple to use, and it's one of the things that's really nice about this, the way this website is set up. So you want to add something new that's slick looking on this homepage. You don't need to have a great deal of skill, don't need to have a great deal of aesthetic insights, although that's fine if you do, and that's wonderful. But if you don't, you're good to go too. It's very simple. Click Add New. We're going to add a new one right now. We'll make it live even, and then we'll delete it very quickly. I don't think at 12:03 a.m. too many people are visiting your website. Hopefully not. So we have a sample homepage area. This title doesn't show up on that homepage anywhere. This is just for your reference so that you can know what it is when you're looking at it over here. And the way that I would suggest doing this, and you can do it as you please, but is to follow a very simple format. For most of these, what you're going to want is to be presenting some content, right? You're going to have some sort of title for it. So for the title, we're going to say, this is the title. You make that H1. It's going to be the easiest thing. If you make it H1, it's going to look like this, or this. And then underneath it, you're going to put your content. And so it's some kind of content. It can be words like this, but it can also be a form, an accordion, like we looked at earlier, images, a video, whatever you want. So all that goes right there, okay? Let's take off these other options again that we don't want because we don't need Revolution Slider or SEO. Okay, so now we have that there. After that, you want some form of action, if applicable. It might be that the form already takes care of it, or it might be that you don't want to do anything else. You just want to present information. That's fine. If you want to do that, one of the easiest ways is going to be to create a button. So by button, we don't just mean a link. That is where you start off. You set a link to wherever you want this to go. That goes to google.com. But we don't just want this to be a link. We want it to be a snazzy button. Like, see all events right there. Okay, because that looks really nice. It looks like something you really want to take action on. So you select this, and then we have this formats over here, and you click button. Doesn't change on this page right here, but now you've done it, and that's a button now. And it will be that way, and you'll see that here in a moment. We have background images on some of these on the home page, and other ones we don't. And it's fine either way. You can leave it as a solid color, but if you want to have a background image, you can choose it here. So we're going to have it be, how about this here, Capitol building here, okay? If you want to have it be that there is some sort of color overlay, you can make that happen here. You'll notice this here, we have the blue on top of it. That's not naturally a blue image. We've added that on top of there with this color. So you choose whatever color you want. And you can just drag it around and find whatever color you want it to be. And we'll make this kind of an orangey color. Color transparency explains underneath all these things too. But over here means you can't see the color at all. Over here means the photo is completely covered up with the color. We're going to put it right in the middle right now. If you want there to be padding to this, which you almost always will, then you click yes. Almost always will want it. The only time you don't is if you're doing something like a slideshow where you want it to go right to the edges. Otherwise, then you click that you want padding. You can make this a fixed background image. If you make it a fixed background image, then it works like these here. See how that image doesn't move along with the text? It's fixed in place, and the text is what is moving. So if we want that to be fixed, we can click that. If you want to make it extra tall, you click extra tall area. If you want to make it extra narrow, you click the extra narrow area. If you want to make it extra short, you click the extra short area. Those are all very self-explanatory. Let's make it an extra tall one right now. And we have horizontal background position and vertical background position. The horizontal background position will make a real difference when you get down to smaller sizes. It will make a difference at a larger size, but you won't be able to see it much. Let's do it with you all here. I think that one has something that it's set on besides just being right in the center, but maybe not. So you can see as this goes along, we want to try to keep those faces in the center. And it's not going to be able to work totally perfectly on this one because of the nature of the photo. But it gets mostly in the center in that way. If you want to move it a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right, you do that with this here. You don't have to adjust this most of the time. It's usually going to be okay. It depends on the image you have in the background, but most of the time it's going to be okay. Vertical background position doesn't make very much of a difference. You can have, I think on this one, up to 60 pixels difference. You can have up to 60 pixels, yeah. But sometimes that 60 pixels can make a difference, and you can use that if you want to. But most of the time, then it won't make enough of a difference to really be highly valuable. But it's there if you need it. Once you want this to be live, you click Publish. You could click Preview, but it's not going to look quite the same on one of these other pages. By default, these go to the top, which is not where you're going to want this. But you can see that it worked, right? And it's kind of ugly because we have that orangey color back there. Let's change that to something else real quick, and then I will delete it, I promise. And so we'll just make that a blackish background. Okay, so everything looks good. Then we say, wait a minute, we can't see this text on here as we want to. And so then we make this white text over here from that format, just like the button before, right? And remember, it won't change this here. Now, you could do it another way. You can go in here and you can change it within this text color, but then if you're making it white, then that's not good. If you make it white, then you can't see it at all, and it would look like this. And then it's really hard to be able to edit anything. And so that's why we have this instead. And we'll just go back to having it be nothing. We make it white text. And now we click Save. We reload it. And see how much nicer that looks now. And you can play around with it however you want. Maybe you want that one to stay blue. Or maybe you just don't want it to be easy to read at all. That's up to you. But these other things then go into place. And they work out pretty well. Now, we don't want this to actually be live, but we're going to show you one more thing here real quick before we delete this. We have this sample homepage area, and then if you want to reorder these things on the homepage, all you have to do is click. See how that little navigational arrow thing shows up? And then you just drag it down to wherever you want it to be. We can refresh this. Oh, wrong page. Sorry. And we come over here, and then there's the homepage area that we made. And it can look pretty slick without a whole lot of work. You can keep messing with that as much as you need to. Once you're done with one of these things, you can just trash it. And just like anything else, it goes to the trash where we have a chance to restore it if we want to, or we can delete it permanently and then we'll never see it again. And in this case, that's a good thing. You don't need to worry about that sermon series thing. I'll remove that. You don't need to worry about Genesis. Nothing in there that really should require you making any changes at all, I don't think. You can explore it if you want to. I don't think there's anything you need to do there. Under widgets, we don't have a whole lot on this particular website. We have the logo that goes in the header. I don't have anything that's showing the website right now. Here we go. We have the logo that goes in the header. We have the menu that also goes in the header. That's where those things are. This isn't where you control the menu, though. This is just where you tell it to be there. So you shouldn't ever really need to change that. We're not using a primary sidebar or secondary sidebar. That would be showing up on the right side or the left side of your page. Here, we have this thing that says Pods List Items, and it's simply going to make it so that then the home page works. And all these things that come from homepage area, then that's how they get there, is by having this in that home top area. You don't need to do anything with it. Just leave it as it is. Don't have anything in home bottom or subfooter left or right. But we do have something in footer 1. And so we have the map, which you can see on here. And then after that, we have Visual Editor here, and then it works just like a post or a page, but then you can make the changes here within a widget. Once you're done, you click Save, and it becomes live. Very simple. Then we have these social icons down there at the bottom. If you ever need to make a change and add a new social media category, you can do so. You can make changes to the colors here as well if you need to. But that is all that we have going on, except for, I guess we have this menu here, and that makes the menu show up in the bottom there as well. Not too much in the widget area on here, but you can add new things to it if you want to the footer, to the header. You could try to implement a sidebar, although there's not too much in the way of CSS that's set up to be able to control that right now. So it wouldn't necessarily look perfect. But you can use any of these things over here. Just click on them, drag them where you want them to be, and then make whatever settings need to be set. I don't want that going anywhere. And then you click Save, and then it goes live. And that's really all there is to that. We have menus over here, and your menu is simple. And there's only one of them on your site too, so there's not a whole lot to it. You have pages, posts, homepage areas, sermon categories, sermon series, custom links, categories. Any of these things can be added over here. The ones you're going to be using the most often would be pages, which you already have on here, but if you want to add a new page, you can just add it on, and you can make it a submenu by dragging it to where you want it to be, and you can make sub-menus and go on to infinity, although eventually they would start to look bad. None of these changes become live as you're making them. You have to click Save Menu over there in the corner. Now we got all those sub-menus going on. You click Save Menu and then it becomes live. If you want to add a custom link, that means just something that's not on your website already, then you can do it here. And you can choose what text you want it to be. Add it to the menu, and now it's there. We can also make changes to the navigation label, so just the text that shows up as the menu link here. And so instead of leadership, we could change it to our leadership. We could change it to leadership, and that would be fine. It would still go to the same place. Once you want to make it live, you click Save, and that's all there is to menus. It's really pretty simple. We have plugins down here. You can add new plugins if you would like to. Can't guarantee that they will all work well. If you have questions about what should be used, feel free to ask us. We'd be happy to help. We have a lot of experience, and so we're happy to offer that advice so that what you're installing is something that is safe and reliable. In users, then to add a new user, you simply click Add New User. Give them a username and an email, and put in their first and last name. You can put a website in there if you want to. You don't have to. You don't have to do first and last name either, but a lot of times you'll want to. And then for password, by default, it's something that's generated by them. And so something crazy like this. It's fine to enter your own password, something that's different than what's on here. It would be good to make sure that you get a good rating on how strong it is. It's to your benefit to have a secure website. And we have other features in place that help to protect your website, but we cannot guarantee it as fully if the passwords on it are not secure. So you're much better off if you do that. If you say password and it's very weak, that's going to be a problem. I'm going to get some capital letters in there. My man, 1988, exclamation point. Still nothing, right? And so we just got to keep trying. So that's why it's easier just to use something that they have. But you can eventually get it. And so we can have Adam1985 ... .. We'll get there eventually. So if you just get past the very weak part, then I'm satisfied. That would make me happy. You can send the new user an email. You can change what they're going to be. A lot of times it's going to be an administrator. Probably most of the time it's going to be an administrator. Click Add New User, and then that user appears. Right now, it's just the two of us. You and me and you, although we have multiple staff that access the website using this, or potentially could. They don't all do it, but they could have access to it. And then we have tools, nothing within tools. Settings, not too much that you need to look at really here ever. Almost nothing. Within general, we need to change that email to the correct email, and I'll find out what that is. And these other things you don't really ever need to touch. With an SEO here, then you can make some changes to the titles and meta. These are the things that show up then on Facebook. If you want to make changes to that or connect it to your Facebook account in some special way, then you can, but there's really no particular need to. Duplicator we'll get rid of. That was for transferring the site here. Slider Revolution is something else that you actually need. And so you come into Slider Revolution, you've got your slideshows here. We have the homepage slideshow. Sermons you won't really ever need to mess with. It's set and ready to go, and it'll just do its own thing. On the homepage slider here, you have one right now, is all that we have going on this website, but we can add multiple slides, and that would be perfectly fine. And so right now it just keeps on going, and it flashes through several things, and it's reasonable enough, and it works well. It gives a good feel for the church. But you can add more slides up here. You want to add a blank slide, you click Add a Blank Slide. There are way too many features within Slider Revolution to fully go over all of them, but we'll go over a few basics. You want to set a background image, you can do it here. Change out the image, set it to whatever you want it to be, and then there it is, and it shows up in the background. You want to add text, you can add text, and you can make it different sizes, as would be expected. You can make it different weights, and that means like making it bold. You always want to make sure that you have the line height be the same or greater than what the font size is. You can choose any sort of Google font over here, so you have a lot of font options. You can go to fonts.google.com and find those more easily than what you could through here, but then they are on here as well. If you want to center it up, you can center it up. We have animations up here that dictate how they come in and how they go out. You can make it things that are a lot more exciting, and you get to preview them there. If you need to make one of these things link, we have actions up here, and you can just go in and type in the URL that you want it to be, and then people will be able to click on it, and it will take them to that page that you want them to be going to. As you're making these things, let's change the color of this actually real quick so that we can see this a little bit better. It's still pretty awful just because of the background, but that's okay. As you're making these things, you'll find that sometimes things don't fit on different screen sizes as easily. And so we have this nice big caption text there, and it looks fine right here, and we're on desktop. Go down to laptop size, we're still good. Go down to tablet, and it's cutting off the edges. And so then you can make changes at the tablet size without impacting the larger sizes. And so now we can say we want this to only be 140 pixels. And then we're good to go here on this size. And you can go down to mobile, and you can say, oh, okay, let's make it 110. Nope, not good enough. And then we get to squeeze it in there that way. Now we go back through and we can see it works on all these. We can preview this, save it, whatever we need to do. Take a look to see how it goes. You can make it move around some with some Ken Burns or parallax, anything that you want. So many options on here. Play around with them. If you have specific questions on it, let us know and we'll be glad to help you out with it. Last thing we have on here is WP Google Map. If you want to add a new location or you want to manage what you already have, you can do it here. And we'll leave without saving. We don't need that. And we have a couple of these on here because of the address situation from before. But you can edit these at any time. Go inside there, change the location. So you don't need to change the map itself. You can just change the location of something if you all move somewhere else again. You can add a new location that is brand new for some other thing that you need to have on a map somewhere. Enter in all the information. Some of it, this stuff loads up automatically. And then it fills that in from Google, so you don't have to do that. And you can check these things, give it a little icon if you want to. If you want to add a new map, that's different than adding location. You can have multiple locations on one map. If you want to add a new map, then you can do it here. You can just leave it blank and it'll automatically be full width, which is what you're going to want most of the time. For the height, you can just experiment and find the number of pixels that feel right. Same on these zoom things. Look through the options. And you don't need to set this latitude and longitude. It'll just be in the center by default based on whatever locations you have. It'll be in a natural place. Choose which locations you want to be on there. Once you have it all the way good to go, you click Save Map. And then, once that has been set, then you have these shortcodes that show up. You just copy that, insert it into anything that you want, and then that map will show up in that spot, and it'll be lovely. Those are the basics of how to use your new somajc.org website. And if you have questions, we're always happy to help. Text, call, email. David's your first point of contact right now. and he is good with helping out with those sort of situations. If he's not able to fully help out, not fully able to get you there, then he'll clue me into it, and I'll be glad to help out as well.